Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. And today we have a couple of articles and update to the American surveillance state. There's a couple things that popped up here recently. And the first one we actually mentioned in passing in an article not too long ago. I saw a reference to this, but we didn't actually have any articles or any information. And now we actually have some information about this. So from MSN here, garbage trucks may soon start spying on people. And they cover a little bit about what's going on, where it's happening. Of course, the garbage trucks are going to be armed with cameras, and that they'll go ahead and as they're picking up your trash, they're going to be scanning your yard looking for what type of violation to send you. You know, this is just about the city raising revenue on you because, you know, apparently if you're not 100% on every little tiny ordinance, I mean, our AI camera determined that your grass was 0.25 inches too high. Here is your fine for having grass too high. That is kind of insane. And so this is not good. I mean, if you want to find more violations, hire more humans to do it. This whole company or governments are using technology and machines to go against their citizens. I'm sorry, man. This is going to start a revolt. And I will laugh. So anyway, garbage trucks. This actually, the article I saw looked at Cape Coral, Florida, but it turns out that this is happening in more places than that. So not only are they collecting trash, they're also taking photos of your yard as they do so. And as they do that, they're running it through AI models and identifying potential fines. And then, of course, they're passing those up to code enforcement, who, of course, you know, when you start getting AI involved, people's brains just turn off. They're like, oh, the AI said it. And so, you know, this is going to pass all these pretend violations up to the code enforcement, who's going to come by and rubber stamp them and be like, wow, I just generated $1 million for the city. And, you know, a lot of it's going to be false negatives, hallucinations, and stuff like that. But officials in Cape Coral, Florida, recently considered equipping sanitation trucks with AI-powered cameras that would photograph properties as crews completed their normal collection routes. The system would have been designed to identify personal issues such as overgrown lawns, peeling paint, and illegal dumping to flag violations so city staff can review them later. Excuse me, let me correct that. City staff can rubber stamp them later to take enforcement actions. You know that they're not going to be, oh, the AI said there's paint violations. All right. So now because your garbage truck drove by and you got like 3 chips on the bottom of your fence, they're going to come over and cite you for not having a properly painted fence. Guys, if you think Florida is a free state, you have another thing coming. This is one of the most regulated states in the country. It is a dystopian hellhole. Get out of there, folks. Don't go to Florida. Like, visit, fine. Go see some alligators, you know. So privacy advocates have long warned expanding camera networks can raise new concerns about how data is collected, stored, shared, and potentially repurposed. And yes, that is the problem. We need a global federal law that no camera can add onto a expanded internet-based network, period. All cameras have to be closed circuit CCTV. If they want to have some camera on the garbage truck, no AI in it either. It's too many false positives. And then they take that, and then the code enforcement's job now consists of looking at these videos of the garbage truck. Hey, you know, probably just add it to their workload, but who knows? Make that boy some popcorn. He can now judge your yard from the high desk at a city hall, right? So, of course, the officials said it would not be moving forward with the camera technology, citing cost issues and insufficient benefits. The claims suggesting the technology would automatically identify site and find residents are inaccurate, the statement noted. Once again, MSN, by the way, does not maintain highlights for whatever reason. So they're not the first city to explore the technology. Let's see. They quoted this here. And then they quoted elsewhere that, yes, they would use the data to cite people more. So it's like these people like double speaking. So apparently, though, this has not just happened there. It's actually happened down in Stockton, California. They analyzed 40,000 parcels, capturing 200,000 images while identifying thousands of potential code issues. So there's California getting more revenue from you, more revenue to turn it into, apparently I read this week, crack pipes. They're giving out clean crack pipes to all their addicts on the streets of California. I don't know if that was statewide or if that was just like LA or San Francisco or something. Saw something about it. Didn't read the article. But yeah, there you go. Aren't you happy that the technology is being used against you to find an enforcement that a human didn't find, to charge you more money, to take the money, to put 80% of that in the politician's pocket and 20% of that in a crack pipe to give to a drug addict on the street? Wonderful use of taxes, California. You know, Cathedral City also used the technology to assist code enforcement, while Dallas just approved funding for a similar program pending final implementation. And then, of course, they go on to a flock debate rage here, which is, of course, well justified. We'll be getting into flock here next. I had to remember which article that was there. But yeah, so they're talking about the flock getting out, and they're doing those. Then we look at the vehicle privacy. So the FTC finalized an order prohibiting General Motors and OnStar from sharing certain connected vehicle data with consumer reporting agencies for 5 years. Oh, just for 5 years, you will not be collecting a bunch of our data and selling it. Where's the option to completely turn this off? Of course, California had that bill that would allow a car company to turn that stuff off in the event there's a court order. What if I just don't want that data going to the car company? You know, I mean, unless the car company, here's the thought, car company, if you want to collect all the data, why don't you just do like what Amazon does and Walmart does and all these other companies? Sell us the equipment at a loss so you can make your money on collecting the data. But when right now every car is rolling off the lot at 50,000 plus, and then they're collecting your data and you can't do anything about it, and then they're monetizing your data and you can't do anything about it, I'm sorry, we have serious fundamental problems in this country. So, you know, there you go. So, let's see. Coral officials said the camera system would, in the future, would assist, not replace human code enforcement, and employees will review AI-generated alerts before violations are issued. No, they will rubber stamp. But once again, why is this sentence here under the vehicle privacy and not up here, where they say claims suggest technology would automatically identify, cite, or find residents are inaccurate. But down here, the city official said that it would assist, not replace, human code enforcement officers to review AI-generated alerts before issuing code violations. Not only is there doublespeak, but why in the world is this such an out of such a place here? Such system would be considered in the future. Any potential code violations would require a rubber stamp and absolutely be generated by code compliance officer before any enforcement action could be taken. Yeah. So, of course, there's a lot more here about the various cameras to do that. But if that wasn't enough, Home Depot and Lowe's built a nationwide vehicle tracking network. Now, here is something interesting. I have been looking for these. I have not seen flock cameras at Home Depot. I have looked for them because I used to not go to Home Depot because they were the first to roll out this, all self-checkout nonsense. It was hard to find a human being in the store. And if you found them, their IQ was something below room temperature. Lowe's wasn't much better. And, I went into Lowe's a couple years ago to buy a big tool chest for the back of the van. And I knew exactly what model. The website said they had them in stock. And I go in, I'm looking on the floor, and they don't have them on the floor. So I find the guy that actually works in a tool thing. I'm like, hey, I'm looking for this model tool. Where is it? I don't know. You're the guy that works in the tool department. You want to show a little initiative? We have to get on the internet. And I'm pointing out the one. He's like, oh, I need to go get the car. And the dude disappeared in the back for 15 minutes. What the hell? In fact, I don't even know if he ever came back. I snagged a guy driving by with a car and said, hey, dude, I want that. I went from Home Depot to Lowe's because they were held on to their real cashiers for longer. But then I started noticing every Lowe's I seemed to go into had a flock camera. And then I looked around and I saw the flock cameras. And every single Lowe's, since I saw that, I think starting, was it last summer maybe? Last summer or so, Every single Lowe's I've been to or driven past in the entire country now has a flock camera. Every one. So I stopped going to Lowe's and go to Home Depot because I have not seen the flock cameras. Now, I have seen the portable camera systems in Home Depot's parking lots, and I had not made the connection that those are flock. So I do not know if those are exactly flock or if that is a different company. Those might be Axiom, which might be worse or about the same. Who knows? But effectively, when I looked into this for Lowe's actually has a spot on their websites dedicated to flock cameras. Home Depot does not. However, every article I found about this general topic says Lowe's and Home Depot both deploy them, even though I have not physically seen the traditional flock cameras at Home Depot. Not, they have cameras for sure, but I haven't seen them there. But it turns out that a single sheriff's office had access to all of the flock cameras nationwide. Why would a sheriff in Whereversville need the flock camera data from a Lowe's on the other side of the country? Is that not a red flag? Additionally, Lowe's retains all that data for 90 days. Remember all this, it only keeps the data for 30 days. No. Flock keeps the data. Flock keeps the data. It's just available to you, their customer, for 30 days. Lowe's negotiated a different contract. They can access the customer data for 90 days. So both retailers have deployed flock cameras across their parking lots. Again, I have not seen the traditional flock cameras in Home Depot. If you have, let me know where. I want to look them up on DFlock. So the data feeds directly into law enforcement accessible networks. No one hands you a disclosure form between the gardening center and your trunk. So here's what the numbers actually show. EFF identified a single sheriff's office with access to 173 different Lowe's locations nationwide. North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation in 2023 had access to camera networks in all Lowe's stores in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Why does North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation need them from out of state? Because they're law enforcement, of course. That's a silly question, little rabbit. Have some tricks. Oh, no, don't have tricks. Those are for kids. All right. So why the map matters? Let me load this. Let's show you the map. So this is not just all the surveillance. Oh, did they not do that? Let me see if I can see the map over here on X. Okay. So you can't see it super well, but this is just the cameras just at Lowe's. They say Lowe's and Home Depot. Again, I know there's a Home Depot down there in Southwest Wyoming, and there's not a camera there. But I also know every single Lowe's I've driven by does have them. So why the map matters more than the cameras. So Lowe's says it doesn't sell the data, but it does share it with select service providers and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Home Depot directs privacy questions to a dedicated email address. Neither retailer requires law enforcement to notify you before accessing your vehicle data. So they just basically give all the law enforcement information. Now, as for this, I'm going to research this further into Home Depot, and if they have it there, well, I guess I'll have to stop going to Home Depot now too. Ace Hardware is a better store anyway. They just don't have as much stuff, but there you go. So there's the current state of surveillance in America today. So let me know your thoughts about all those in the comments down below.